Hello guys, welcome to Netexpertz. My name is Siddhanshu Kapoor. Today we'll discuss about what is Azure Bastion in Azure. Let's start the session guys. Okay, so in this session I open my notepad. So as you can see that there is this is the Azure Bastion. So what is Azure Bastion now? Azure Bastion is the new services in Azure. Okay, it's a new services. What it do? It provides secure and seamless RDP or SSH connectivity to your virtual machines directly in the Azure portal over TLS. Now, the third point is we do not need any public IP address to access the Azure VM. Now, Azure Bastion is what? It's a kind of services. Okay, it means that it is a kind of services. Okay, we do not need any public IP address. Means that, like, if I need to access the Azure VM, so what I need? I need one public IP address to RDP the virtual machine, or I can use SSH connectivity to access the virtual machine. Now, by default we have two protocols to use to access the virtual machine. Either I can use RDP or either I can use SSH. Now Azure provides you a new feature, a new services, okay, through which we can access the virtual machine without using public IP address. If I not set public IP address on a virtual machine, so we can able to access it. Okay, so Azure Bastion is the services. Okay, so with the help of portal only, we do not need any remote connection protocols, we do not need any SSH protocols. Okay, we need only a portal, and through portal we able to access the virtual machine. Like if you guys knows VMware, so in VMware, like I have a VMware server, EXSI server, we have EXSI server, like we are using 6.5 or 6.7. So over there, if I need to access the virtual machine, so what I need one client, VMware vSphere client. Okay, so through that, when I install the VMware vSphere client, over there we have the option console. So I don't want to need any RDP protocol, I don't want to need any SSH protocol to access the virtual machine. Through instead of through the VMware vSphere client portal, I'm able to client console. There is option over there console. Through that, we are able to access the virtual machine. You can see that virtual machines console. Okay, so like the same we have. It's the same based of like this. Okay, so Azure Bastion is it is only used for access the virtual machines, but if I'm using the Azure Bastion, so we do not need any public IP address to access the Azure virtual machines. Now I'll showing you one diagram now. Now this is the diagram, so it shows me how Azure Bastion works. Okay, so number one point is that in the figure, the Bastion host is deployed in the virtual network. So first I need to deploy the Bastion host in the virtual network. Number second, the user connects to the Azure portal using any HTML5 browser. Okay, so user connects to the Azure portal. So first, this is the client, as you can see that these two is the client. So my user is access the Azure portal through SSL if I'm using the Bastion. Now the user selects the VM to connect to. With a single click, the session opens in the browser and no public IP address required on the Azure VM. So as you can see that Azure Bastion works on SSL and 443 port number. So it's secure communication. Okay, so it's a secure communication protocol. So through that, we do not need any public IP address. Without public IP address, we are able to access the Azure VM console. Okay, so now I'll show you the practical as well, but first I need to open the notepad. But if I talk about the Azure Bastion requirements, so we have some Azure Bastion requirements as well. We'll go for Azure Bastion requirements. What I need to configure Azure Bastions. Okay, so number one, I need one VNet. Okay, I need one Azure VM. Okay, and number third, we need to configure Azure Bastion services. Okay, configure Azure Bastion services. Now, if I'm going to configure Azure Bastion services, we need to understand two things. Number one, when you're going to create the virtual network, your subnet name should not be default. Okay, by default, what happens when I'm going to create the VNet, I can use the default subnet name is default. We just click on next, and it's automatically take the subnet name. It's default, and you can click on next. No, we do not go for that. The subnet name should be Azure Bastion subnet. Remember these things. If you not set this, so Bastion is not Azure Bastion subnet. This name should be there. Okay, if you're using the default name, so the you're not able to add the VNet in Bastion. Okay, now number second, we need /27 subnet. I'm sorry, /27 subnet. Okay, it's mandatory. Okay, so when I'm going to create the VNet, we need to understand these two things. Okay, so when I'm going to create the VNet, when I configure the subnet in VNet, so we need at least /27 subnet, and the subnet name should be Azure Bastion subnet. If I am change these things, so we are not able to create the Bastion, because when I'm going to create the Bastion, so we need to add the VNet in the Bastion. So if I not define these things, so the Bastion the VNet is not added in the Bastion. Okay, I'll showing you like this. Okay, so let's see the practical now. So this is my portal. Okay, now first I need to create the virtual network. So I'm going to create a virtual network now. It's a new virtual network. Okay, now click on add over there. Okay, so they asked me the resource group, so I'm creating the new resource group. Okay, I create the resource group as Bastion-RG. I'm creating this resource group. Okay, click on OK now. Now I need to define the virtual network name. So I go for VNet-100. Okay, and I define this VNet in East US. The location of this VNet is East US. Now click on next. Now they ask you the IP address is this /16 and the subnet. If you choose the default one, so the subnet name is default and the subnet range is /24. So I don't want to do this. I want click on default. I need to change the default subnet name first. Let's go for like this. So I use this name, copy this name, and I paste it. Okay, and then we'll go for /27. Remember these things. Understood? Okay, like this. Now click on save. I need these settings in subnet. So as you can see, the subnet name is your Bastion subnet, and the subnet address range is /27. Okay, now simple. Click on review and create. Now it's reviewing, running final validation. If everything is fine, the validation is passed. Now click on create after that. So it's going to create the virtual network. Now let's wait for this. So as you can see that the deployment is completed. Now click on home over there, and I just click on virtual networks. So as you can see that VNet 100 is created now. Okay, now I'm going to create the virtual machine. So I go for virtual machines, and I click on add virtual machine. Okay, now I choose the resource group first. So I already create the resource group was Bastion-RG. Now I need to give the virtual machine name. So it's VM-01, and the region is East US, and I define the operating system. So we'll go for 2016, and I use two virtual processors with 8 GB of RAM. Okay, now I need to define the username. So its username is Azure admin, and define the password. Okay, now we go down. Okay, RDP is fine. Let's click on disk. Now click on next. Now it's assigned the automatically premium SSD disk. Click on next again. Now it's automatically connect with the VNet 100. Okay, and okay, so I added another subnet for virtual machine. Okay, because as your Bastion subnet is not supported. Okay, so I create another subnet. Subnet is subnet 1. Okay, now I just simply click on next now. Management. In management monitoring, I go for that. I click on advanced now. Click on tags, then review and create. Now let's see. I'm going to create the virtual machine now. It's going to create the virtual machine, and click on create now. Okay, remember these things that Azure Bastion subnet is not supported to virtual machine, and the default subnet is not supported to Bastion. Okay, so we need to create a separate. I'm going to create a separate subnet for virtual machine and a separate subnet for Bastion. Now let's see. Once it's create the virtual machine, let's go for that. This is deployment. As you can see that it's deploying the virtual machine now. Okay, so as you can see that the virtual machine is created now. Now click on home, and click on virtual machines. So as you can see that the virtual machine is created. Okay, now I'll go for home and click on resource group once. Okay, now I'll go to the Bastion now. I'm going to configure the Bastion services. Go for Bastion. Now click on add. Now they ask you the resource group. So the resource group name is Bastion-RT. Okay, which I will go for that. Now I need to give the name. So the name of this is go for Bastion 01. Okay, and I place this Bastion in East US. Okay, now need to define the virtual network. So virtual network is VNet-100. And as you can see that now this time it's taking as your Bastion subnet 100.0/27. It's okay. Now it gives one public IP address also to this Bastion. So you go for VNet-100-IP. Okay, and now click on tags and click on review and create. So now it's in process. It's reviewing and its validation is passed. Now click on create now. Okay, so as you can see that the deployment is completed now. Now I'll go to home and go to Bastion. So I hope it's created now. Now as you can see, Bastion 1 is created. Okay, fine. Now I'll click on home and now I'll check the virtual machine. Now I'm trying to access the virtual machine through Bastion services. I'll go to virtual machine 1 and I click on connect and I'll go to Bastion option is there. Just click on Bastion. Now they ask me username and password. Okay, so my username is Azure admin and the password I define is and click on connect. Okay, my pop-up blocker is I need to allow my pop-up. Click on done and click on connect again. So as you can see that through portal I'm going to access my virtual machine. I don't want any I need to allow it. I don't want any you can see that see it's connecting my virtual machine. So I don't want any you can see that see I don't want any RDP protocol. I don't want any SSH protocol. Through portal I'm able to connect this virtual machine. As you can see that see I'm able to access it. So remember the things that when I'm going to create the virtual network, okay, so we need the subnet name should be this. Okay, as you can see that the subnet name should be Azure Bastion subnet and the subnet prefix is -27/27 subnet. Okay, and when I need to connect the virtual machine when I'm going to connect the Bastion from the virtual machine, so what I need a separate subnet for virtual machine. Okay, so like this. So as you can see that if I see my my network, so we have two subnets now, one for Bastion and one for virtual machine. Okay, I go for virtual network and over there as you can see that I just click on VNet 100 and over there we have two subnets is running. I'll showing you this. Wait. See if I click on subnets, so we have two subnets is running. One for my virtual machine connects with subnet-01 and my Azure Bastion subnet I had my Bastion connect with Azure Bastion subnet from this VNet. Okay, fine, like this, because as you can see that I successfully access my VM. I don't want any protocol to access. I don't want any even IP address also. So you can see that if I go to my home and I just click on virtual machine, so there is no public IP address is running on this virtual machine. So without public IP address, I am able to access this. See, there is no public IP address. There is only a private IP address is there. So without public IP address, I am able to access this. I hope my internet connection is not working, so that's why it's speaking again. So like this, as you can see that. Okay, fine. So that's the way how we can go for that. how we can this is the way how we can configure my how we can configure Azure Bastion Services. That's it for the session, guys. Thank you for watching.